Hello and welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the most famous ideas about the human mind. This idea that we all have this incredible, untapped potential just waiting to be unleashed.
You've heard it, right? The question that's been around forever. Do we really only use 10% of our brains? The whole idea that 90% of this amazing organ is just sitting there, switched off. But is there any truth to that at all?
I mean, it's one of those things that just kind of sounds right, doesn't it? It gets passed around so much at family dinners, in movies, that for a lot of people, it's become a fact. It's this exciting promise that we're all just one step away from becoming a genius.
And Hollywood? Oh, they absolutely love this idea. You've probably seen the movie Lucy, which is the perfect example. It's all about a character who unlocks her full brain capacity and gets these mind-blowing abilities. It makes for a really cool movie for sure, but the big question is there any real science behind it?
Okay, so let's just break down what the myth itself actually is. The core belief is this, that a huge part of our brain, like 90% of it, is just dormant. It's a sleeping giant inside our heads.
And the number you always hear is so small, just 5 to 10%. Think about that for a second. When you consider everything our brain does for us, every single moment, from breathing to dreaming to solving problems, that number seems kind of crazy. And this, right here, is what makes the idea so appealing. What would happen if we could unlock the other 90%? We could gain superpowers. It's this incredibly exciting thought, the idea that we have this hidden potential just waiting for us.
But as compelling and awesome as that all sounds, it's really just a story. So now it's time to peel back the layers and separate what's fiction from what's actually fact.
So let's just be super clear here. The 10% myth, it's completely false. It's not a little bit of an exaggeration, it's a total misunderstanding of how our brains actually work. In fact, it's probably one of the most stubborn myths in all of neuroscience. You know, there's actually a scientific name for this kind of thing. It's called a neuromyth. These are ideas that sound all scientific and get repeated so often that they become common knowledge, even though there's no real research to back them up. And believe me, the 10% idea, it's the king of all neuromyths.
Okay, so if 10% is wrong, then what's the right answer? How much of our brain do we really use? Let's take a look at what the science actually tells us.
Well, the scientific consensus is pretty overwhelming on this one. We use virtually all of our brain. There aren't these huge dark areas that are just offline waiting for a signal. Turns out every little part has a job to do.
Now, here's the crucial detail, and this is probably where the whole myth got started. We don't use 100% of our brain all at the exact same time. Firing every single neuron at once would be total chaos. Think of it like turning on every single appliance in your house at the same time. The circuit would blow. In your brain, that would actually be closer to a massive seizure.
Just think about your day. When you're talking, certain parts of your brain light up. When you're walking, different areas take over. When you're listening to music or trying to remember someone's face, all of these different jobs activate specific, different parts of the brain. So over the course of a whole day, you actually end up using pretty much the entire thing.
And hey, if you're still not totally convinced, let's try a really simple thought experiment. You don't need any fancy lab equipment for this, just a little bit of logic. It completely dismantles the myth.
So just ask yourself this. If 90% of our brain really is unused, just sitting there, what should happen if a small part of that unused area gets damaged?
See, here's where it all falls apart. If the myth were true, a little bit of brain damage in the right spot should have no effect, right? It would just hit an unused part. But we know, in reality, that's not what happens at all. Even the tiniest brain injury can have absolutely devastating effects on our ability to speak, to move, or to remember things. And that, right there, proves that every part of our brain is doing something important.
So let's wrap this all up. After busting this huge, popular myth, what's the big takeaway? What should we know about our amazing, hardworking brains?
The bottom line is this. Forget the whole 10% thing. You use your whole brain. It is an incredibly efficient and complex organ, and there really is no wasted space. Every single part of it is active and has a purpose, whether you're wide awake or fast asleep.
So maybe this is the better question we should be asking. Instead of dreaming about unlocking some mythical 90%, the real challenge and the real opportunity is learning how to better use the incredible 100% we already have. What do you think?